Panicked reports from the Pacific Front have reached the German Army High Command. American troops, it is reported, have abandoned their lines behind a German spearhead that was moving towards San Diego, leading to the encirclement of the German forces. Their destruction was only avoided by fast-thinking division commanders who managed to exploit enemy miscommunications and secure the port of Los Angeles. Yet even after these events, the heroic attempts of German troops to reach their cut-off comrades are marred by reports of American soldiers refusing to join the relief attempts. The American ambassador in Berlin has been ordered to explain the actions of his government and has promptly returned with a message from General MacArthur himself, quoting, "I deploy my forces where, how, and in which manner I damn well please. If the Kaiser still believes he's got his place in the sun, he can take his divisions and put them where the sun does not shine." Furious from the affront and disillusioned by American arrogance, the Oberste Heeresleitung has ordered all German troops to perform a fighting withdrawal through the port of Los Angeles and an immediate return to Germany. At the same time, back-channel negotiations with Long's faction have produced a call for support against the common syndicalist threat, laced with promises of future cooperation in case of his victory in the Civil War. We have learned not to trust the Americans and paid for that lesson with the blood of our soldiers. We will assist against the common enemy, but any further action needs to be based on trust, which is to be gained. In August 1937, Germany had to realize several things. The stability and overall consistency of the post-Weltkrieg system is completely falling apart. And it looks like we are on our own. We cannot rely on allies or friends or even other countries that are supposedly somewhat neutral towards our own efforts and are trying to keep the world together. Because, the United States of America have sort of left us a little bit out hanging in the dry. So right now the troops are trying to enact a fighting withdrawal through Los Angeles, and we will no longer support MacArthur. Our new goal is not to get anybody on our side or even just to influence the rest of the world, because Germany stands alone. And that means we will focus all our efforts on containing the syndicalist threat, which means as soon as the troops are back from the Pacific states, we will try to send some support to the American Union state and see if we can hold off the combined syndicates of America a little bit longer, and see if we can get at least that under control. But in Spain we are almost at the point where we have destroyed the syndicalists, and even if the Spanish monarchy falls and the Carlists will take over, at least the syndicalists are not supporting a potential war with Britain and France. Which reminds me, we do need to improve our situation in Ireland, and I do not wish to spend any more of my army experience, because the other thing that the current fighting is showing is that Germany is woefully underprepared for any kind of military operations these days. So instead, we're going to do some training exercises again. That gives us 15 influence points for 5 command power. I really want my command power up as well, and we're still suffering from Victors of the Weltkrieg and lacking war support, but at least that regenerates rather quickly in comparison to actual army XP. We are doing the organizing the cartelization of the economy, and then we will probably, how far are we? We have 86 days, so we're down to -3. We can probably we need to do this at some point, but we probably don't have to do it right now. So we might be able to just push the Salzgitter Stahlwerke through for 30 steel and a couple of factories. But we have a lot of preparation to do, because Germany is very much underprepared. So if we're looking at the focuses over here, a lot of them say that they will leave us more prepared for the Second Weltkrieg. So more prepared, if we're looking into that. There are a fair few over here around the Army and Air Force organization, and Air Force organizations over here. And there are also a couple over here under the National Defense State that we can take. So this is stuff we eventually need to take. World tension is, we're at 38%, it's relatively high already. So we're still in 1937, however. So we hopefully still have a bit of time before the French will attack us eventually. We do need to work on our debt, because 137% is all we're going to get out of decisions. I do have still some focuses available, but I really want to complete these because, so what I'll probably do is I'll complete this one and then do this one so we get the maximum out of the Tanubade cards. And then we will take one more economic focus and then focus on second Einkreisungstheorie and a couple of the other ones here, just to make sure that we're getting through these things, and that we're starting to work on the Front and the military system. However, right now we are still very much involved in trying just to hold. Yeah, right now we're just holding here against superior forces because our divisions are just not capable of offensive operations. That's just the plain and simple of it. So have I retrieved the Air Force? Where are my air wings? I've got one wing operational in Spain, and okay, the 4th Jagdgeschwader is standing by, and where's the rest of it? I have one in Iberia, one in Brandenburg, one in Seville, actually. Okay, I can't actually operate 2 of those, so I'm gonna have to send those back. And we can only operate one air wing here, so that's that. Actually, do we have sufficient amount of bombers to do anything? We've got 8. That's not yet enough, so nothing gonna happen. What I really need is 25 army experience to start creating a stormtrooper division and to start throwing artillery in here. So that would be 25 and ideally 30 for 2 artilleries, for 2 artillery battalions, but one would already be a good start, just to get me a bit of firepower on the infantry, and then eventually we'll also need to get better tanks, better planes. There's a lot of work to be done. We are training a whole bunch of divisions, so once material becomes available, and we are very slowly starting to ramp up the production of small arms and things in general, and we are still on the mixed construction of civilian factories and military factories and some more dockyards, because we are building up the navy as well, and that's gonna have to happen. Talking about navy, somebody mentioned we should probably be dealing with the trade routes, so yes, I agree. We probably want to, just so I don't forget that later on, we want to definitely not be using the English Channel. So we'll prohibit that already. And I am also thinking that using the Mediterranean, given the situation, is probably a terrible idea. So we'll block off the Mediterranean naval areas for any kind of operations, which means that everything else is going to have to sail around it, and that allows us also to figure out how our trade routes are going to be working. Now, the interesting part's going to be, well, Middle Africa can probably deal with it with things themselves, but any kind of trade needs to go through the North Atlantic, which means that also the escort routes eventually need to go through the North Atlantic. All right, but for now, let's get back to the Spanish Civil War while we are waiting for the volunteers to return from the United States. And we're currently holding off a Carlist assault on Zaragoza. And we have to do this because nobody else does. Otherwise, they'll march straight through and we'll just be cut off here. So we have to do that. But we have 2 tank divisions on the assault here, supporting the assault, trying to get across the river line, and we do need to get across the river line, and then after we've managed that, we should be able to Okay, Honduras volunteers have returned. We should be able to probably... What's the terrain here? Terrain. Yeah, I think we'll just push towards Barcelona and finish it. I don't think encircling and destroying them is a waste of time, really. So we're just gonna get the tank divisions to push across, and then just push towards Barcelona. So let's make that happen. Spain is sending some troops here, but they're having massive problems trying to hold the front near Sevilla. But as long as we can get Barcelona before the Spanish are capitulating, then I think we'll be in good shape. The retreat operations from the United States East Coast are well, we're trying to get out as quickly as we can, and we will see. It's either get out or lose all divisions. So we'll see how things end up. Okay, we have pushed across the lines. The Spanish have reinforced Zaragoza. So I'm gonna get one mountain division to assist here. Because they are very weak and they need to dig in, and I don't trust them to hold this. And Zaragoza is... Yeah, we need to hold Zaragoza. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to delete the front line. I'm going to get this one division to hold Zaragoza, and the other ones are just going to operate independently. Okay. Pushing along the river lines, and hopefully that'll free up some troops here, and we can make a surprise attack towards Burgos. But that'll only happen if, we do have to be very careful not to be cut off once again here. So we need one division here to, we'll try to push back the Carlists here, just to make sure we're not getting cut off. And we'll leave it to the tank divisions to push along the river line towards Barcelona, break through and make that happen. Okay, let's see if we can push them out from here and just maintain this position. And I'm not interested that much in actually encircle and destroy at this point. I am just interested in trying to get out. Okay, we're getting counterattacked, so we do have to make sure that we're holding here. And we will see if we can manage. Yeah, that's going to be a hard fight. If we can manage to push back the Spanish here. And as if we didn't have enough problems, Russia has formed the Moscow Accord. For 2 decades, the Russian Republic was seen as a secondary power in the global stage. Dismantled after the Weltkrieg, it could no longer pose a threat to German political hegemony in Eastern Europe, nor to Japanese ambitions in the Pacific. Since then, however, Russia has rebounded and once again lays down its ambitions. Russian diplomats have officialized a military and economic alliance, claiming to unite all nations in Eurasia not aligned with either Germany or the International. Although everyone is well aware that this Moscow Accord is merely an extension of Russia's sphere of influence. Russia seems to not buy the illusion either, and their expansionist rhetoric reveals that they will seek to restore the borders of the former empire with force. We have defeated them once, we will do it again. Yeah, about that. That ticks up the world tension by 6, and that means they have the Moscow Accord, which currently seems to be just Russia by themselves, but it sounds like they're willing to make an offer that people can't refuse. So assault on the Reichspakt in the east is something that is probably going to happen reasonably soon. Now, let's have a quick look up here. We've got a couple of things here. We've got a couple of focuses here to get additional, to do something about, to reduce world tension, and to mess with the Russians, mess with the French, and to potentially mess with the British here. But that we don't really have time for that right now. We also have some decisions and fortification construction available for the Ostwall, and we could send a military mission to Central Asia to increase our ties there. And this is all good stuff, but we don't really have the time for this right now, because we've got other things that we need to do more urgently, because right now, as I said, Germany probably somewhat stands alone. Still, this is a bit of a problem. We've got 78 days here. We could hold a peace summit, but right now I think I'm going to spend my 50 political power, because I don't have the command power to hire a chief of army. What we need to do, one thing we need to do, is get up to partial mobilization, which is going to reduce our political power gain. This is an interesting mechanic, but partial mobilization is definitely warranted. However, before that, I am probably interested to just become the spy master, which should net me a few more operatives, and we can start causing some chaos with our operatives, rather than just using them to scoop out the front lines. So I'm going to do that, and that gives me at least one additional operative, but we'll see how many we will get in the end. Okay, how does things look over here? We might be losing Zaragoza, which is a problem, because that is currently our only supply hub in the region, and we're trying to push back. We're trying to push back against the Carlists here, but maybe we can make it to Barcelona before that becomes a problem. I'm going to try and hold the lines here pretty much and see what we can do, and if we can manage to hold that, while Sevilla has fallen, and they have retreated to Valencia, so it's about time that we finish this here. But we are getting counterattacked, obviously, furiously counterattacked by syndicalist forces. But I think we have somewhat broken the stalemate, and yeah, I think we can manage to once we have finished this this defense here, we can probably manage to break through towards Barcelona, and I hope that'll finish it off. Let's have a quick look. The anarchist civil war should be this one. They're still only 64% towards capitulation, which is kind of surprising, given that they are not holding an awful lot anymore. They've got a couple of victory points around here, but hopefully, if we can take Barcelona, that'll put an end to it. That would be at least my hope. Let's see if the troops can hold out for this long. We're pushing through exhausted syndicalist forces here in the mountains, and if somebody could reinforce Zaragoza, that'd be great. But right now, at least they're holding the back of the lines here. And if the armored spearhead can manage to break through, and I think we'll have them almost broken here relatively quickly, then we can manage this. I don't think we can quite send any volunteers to the Americans just yet. No. And I don't quite know, do we have anything we can send them materially? We've got a couple of trucks. Other than that, there's not an awful lot, because we are very short on basic equipment ourselves. So no, we can't really help them with that. However, defense of Zaragoza is holding at this point, and we will see if we can manage to break through to Barcelona, and then probably we'll just keep going along the coastline if the Spanish troops for a change are actually being useful and holding back there. And there we go, and that is the final assault on Barcelona. Now, if you wouldn't mind keeping pinning these divisions here, Spain, that would be great, because I'm sort of busy cleaning up your mess at this point. But I don't have anybody left here to do this, and we are stretching the edge of our supply lines here quite a bit. But okay, volunteers have returned, so now all we need to do is create a new force and send it over to the American Union State. All right, we'll send the Air Force as much as we can, and we've got the Union Expeditionary Force under Walter Model with some fresh divisions that are not exhausted from the fighting retreat from Los Angeles. Yeah, we're not going to forget that. And honestly, MacArthur can fight for himself. We will see if they accept. Yes, they accepted the volunteers, and we will see if we can. We'll see if we can still make a difference here, and at least probably clean up the naval invasion and see if we can do some pushes here in the south. We are getting close to the army XP that we need, but here it's going to be a really touch and go question with Spain. Let's see if we can make it to take Barcelona. I could use one of the tank divisions because they are reinforcing right now. I could use one of the tank divisions to pin it, but it's not going to make any difference because we'll still be fighting two divisions. So unless the rest of the forces here is going to start helping out a little bit and these guys stop standing around in the countryside, well, we will do our best. We still have aerial superiority here. So, and we are still trying desperately to hold Zaragoza for as much. How is the supply situation? I think I gave the Spanish volunteer group motorized supply. Yes, they have motorization priority, but we might just be too far from Zaragoza at this point. See if we can push the troops back, and yes, they have reinforced, of course, which means unless they are now actually helping out, it is going to be increasingly difficult to take Barcelona, which means we may have to abandon this approach for now, and we'll see if we can shorten the rail lines and widen the front lines near Barcelona. And we might be able to, yeah, and that might entice the rest of these troops to actually come over and help out as well. We're still sort of holding Zaragoza. If we lose Zaragoza, we are screwed. So I'm going to send my troops over to reinforce Zaragoza at this point, because that's the only thing I can do. The Spanish are retreating, the Carlists are retreating, and the Spanish are completely collapsing here. So worst case, we will have to evacuate our volunteers from here as well. But in an ideal position, we would be able to, and yeah, Gibraltar has fallen. In an ideal situation, we would be able to hold, but I'm not sure if they can even hold on to Valencia. So Spain is lost, that's for sure. But we've done what we could to weaken the syndicalists, and that might have to be enough. Let's have a quick look on what Bulgaria is up to at this point. Oh yeah, we've got the usual problem again. Let's push them out from their lines and then return and see if we can. Okay, yeah. The Kingdom of Spain has fallen. They have capitulated. There was nothing we could do to hold that, which means, unfortunately, the syndicalists have now taken over massive parts of Spain again, which means now we are in we have a different problem. So what we could do is we could now switch sides, because the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and we are going to support the Carlists at this point because we have to prevent Spain from falling. So let's send the. Do we still have the Spanish volunteers? No, Spanish volunteers are currently returning. So I'm going to have to wait for them to actually get back because I want this division over. But we will try. We'll try to help out the Carlists at this point and see if we can defeat the syndicalists in the east. And troops are on the way, and we'll see if we can help the American Union state to get out of this mess. But we shall see. In the end, it's all about just defeating the syndicalists and building up our own strength, rather than really trying to gain new allies. Because at the end of the day, Germany sort of stands alone. Does it tell me when they are? It should be the ones returning. September 7 they should be back, and then we can send them over to the Carlists. In the meantime, the Carlists can do their own can do their own thing. We've still got one operative in Barcelona, so hopefully that'll help. And the other one is currently building an infill network. He's building an infill network in Catalonia, and he's over in Michigan. And we can probably start infiltrating parts of the US once we have a couple more operatives. And Ireland, I really don't want to spend the the army XP on that. We are 30 points ahead at this stage. I'm going to run a short pressure campaign, but I don't want to run that continuously because it just costs too much. And we could run a peace summit, but alternatively, I think the next thing I'm going to be trying to save up for is to get the command power up and get a chief of army. I'm thinking of Kurt von Hammerstein-Equord, because he is an army reformer, and that'll give us an additional army XP gain, which is much needed. And it looks like the Union's got the naval invasion here under control pretty much. So hopefully that'll work out in the end. Situation in Bulgaria is still sort of a stalemate. We're trying to. We might have a chance in the north here, honestly, and see if we could push and at least disconnect Belgrade here from the rest of the troops, so they can't reinforce each other. So that might be a possible option that we could take for an offensive. The Sedan Tag was established to celebrate. We've heard it already. This gives me 5 political power. Yeah, we've had that already last time. It's nice to have. And it looks like the Carlists may actually be doing this by themselves. Social Democrat criticism in the Reichstag. Our government policy has come under fire in the Reichstag, which Social Democratic deputies have been using as a tribune ever since the election of 1936. During debates on laws proposed by the cabinet, several of their MPs organized a protest, declaring our reforms to be a slap in the face of democracy and the achievements of the March reforms to the Constitution. In addition, the agitators tried to appeal to the emotions of the deputies watching, asking them to vote against all government policies and join them in agitation to defend democratic principles. This is not how you defend democratic principles, my friends. This is how you overthrow the government. While reporting on this incident was muted in right-wing press, Social Democratic papers gave it front page and significant coverage. Yes. Unfortunately, that costs us 25 political power. So is there anything urgent? I need to do I can do with it right now? Use it or lose it. We can't do. We do need to run a pro-monarchist campaign anyway, so let's do that. We can't actually invest in Poland because we don't have the political power to do it. I think holding a summit for peace, given what's going on, is not a terrible idea. Reduces the world tension by 2. Let's do that. And then that brings us down to -14. And then we'll try once again to save up towards a better position. And it is going to take until September 2nd for the volunteers to arrive in the Union states. So hopefully they can hold up. They can hold out until then. And Guangzhou has proclaimed a government. What's going on in China? We haven't looked. Oh yeah, India is going down as well. Honestly, I'm not fighting in India right now. Germany is still. Oh, the German troops have landed near Saigon, but it looks like they've stuffed it up. So they have landed. The Indochinesische Schutztruppendivision has landed near Saigon, but they have not reinforced the beachhead sufficiently, and it looks like the actual marine divisions in the south are not joining the invasion. So yeah, German East Asia is not doing too great, but I'll have to leave them to that. So the Guangzhou government has been proclaimed, and that's this bit here. With their power base secured around the prosperous city of Guangzhou, the federalist movement in China has proclaimed their own rival government. Yeah. They are not declaring war on the international recognized government in China. It's clear that while they're secured in the south, they'll move north and try to take over all of China eventually. So can we see who's who really? I mean, the League of Southeast Provinces is reasonably large still. We've still got the Qing government in the north. And honestly, at this point, I'm not going to get involved. We have our own wars to fight in Europe because the Russians are coming. So we'll end the episode once I have my volunteer forces over in the US, and we have re-established supply lines here near Sofia. There we go. Supply lines re-established, and I will probably change my front lines slightly to more hold this position here. Okay, so we're holding against the counterattack, and we might try to do a push north with these two divisions if we get an opportunity. Anyway, and we might have a no, we don't need Field Marshal. 2nd September, almost there. How are the Spanish doing? Do they need my support? I could send just some infantry over and help the Carlists to put down the rest of them. But I would like to send the tanks again because I think they were reasonably effective over there. And we are still 60 days away from having to do another round, and we are almost there. Okay, radio detection research is done, and we can, what can we do? We could rush construction. Excavation tech, I don't think I need right now. How's my, yeah, we're good on materials right now, so we don't need that. I am probably just gonna keep up with the tech here. This is all ahead of time still. This is reasonably ahead of time, but I don't have the army XP to do anything here anyway. The only thing we could potentially do would be more air research. Do we have anything on air research right now? We don't. So let's do some air research. Let's get the range improvements. We've got a bonus here. And we can use now which air company should we include on that? Who are we using for production right now for the planes? We are using Focke-Wulf and Dornier. So Focke-Wulf for the fighters. Let's use Focke-Wulf then for the range improvements. Where are they? Focke-Wulf, yeah, there we go. And that'll give them a bit of a boost. And then it is waiting time again until my volunteers arrive. Okay, 4 divisions have arrived in New Orleans. So let's give them a field marshal, and we can assign Hammerstedt Eckwart. I'm good with. So we'll get actually probably von Rundstedt, because he's got both offensive and defensive doctrine, although Hammerstein Eckwart has the better stats. Okay, Hammerstein Eckwart it is. And we'll make ourselves useful immediately. Where are we? We're over here, which is not where we want to make ourselves useful. So let's railroad over to help contain this immediately. And clear that up. So please take the train over here if you can. And we will send a fighter wing over as well, so we get some green air. Let's see, how many can we... we can send the 4th Jagdgeschwader. Yeah, we can send one. So we'll send them to... we don't have an airbase in the north. We do... Which one's closer? Georgia or Florida? We'll send him to Florida for now, and they can help with air superiority over the air zone. Divisions are on the move, and then we will help clear out the positions here, and then we will move north. What is the supply situation in the U.S.? Charleston, Atlanta, Birmingham are the supply lines, and then north. The big problem here is probably going to be the mountainous position. So fighting there is going to be really, really difficult, which means we can probably try to make a break on the coastline here. I don't know if we have enough. Let's see if we can take this port. We'll take that port here in North Carolina and cut off a couple division, take the port, maybe, we'll see. And then push up along the coastline and draw some. I don't want to fight in this region here, but draw some out, maybe that'll help down the road. And MacArthur has to see where he is. Where he's going to be. So that is what we're going to be doing in the next episode. Spain sort of seems like it's good to go, but I'm still going to try and send my volunteers over. We'll see what happens, but yep, that's it for now. Next up, we'll try to get to 25 Army XP to start an assault division. We have a lot of things to do, a lot of work ahead of us, and the Russians are coming as well to join the fun.